Yeah. ICSE की बात कर रहे हैं उसी तरह का ICSE करना है हाँ अरे ये अपना सोशल तो वही है पता है ICSE का होना है बहुत ही अरे हमारा वो इंसान अरे वो किडनैप किया था ना अरे किडनैपिंग चल रहा था बहुत सारे ICSE का होना वो ये निकाला हमारा वो बोला सब लोग किडनी निकाला हुआ है also is going to be इसमें हम शुरू जाएंगे लाइफ में आगे नहीं बढ़ोगे और चीज़ से रहने के मम्मी आगे क्या करेंगे इधर आता है मैं डिमांड से चली गई हम सुविधा दिया था अरे तब एक कैसे किया था मतलब ऐसे वीडियो आया है ये हमारे कितना का वीडियो आया है सुना है ऐसे बता रहा जो रहते हैं कैसे मानते हैं हाँ भगवान की इसलिए ऐसे मुंह छुपा के ऐसे करते हैं ना काया अपना करके ऐसे जब कर गया वो बच्चा पैसे लेने गया उसके तो शबाश दे रहा है इससे निकाला देने में से लगा जो होता तो देखिए पड़ा उसको उठा डाल चला भाई मुझे तो वो 200 सर्वे का डिस्टेंस फॉलो तो समझ में ये डिस्टेंस फॉलो समझना है ये देखिए तो उनसे पढ़ रहा हूँ मेरा आज राशन नाम से कितने पर डिस्टेंस पढ़ रहा हूँ आज बात ये है तब वो और के 80 वो ठीक है कितना बड़ा ये मोटी रस्सी है ना हाँ हो जाएगा और झूठ की है समय से बात इसे हाँ इंडियन में ना वो और टेकिंग कर रही है ये बीच वाले सवाल था इतनी बड़ी रस्सी का मालूम नहीं था जब से ये पॉलिसी के वो इतना डबल है हाँ सर दो बार लेंगे अरे मालूम क्वालिटी हाँ क्वालिटी बार में नहीं हाँ 8 लोग 4 लोग सब्सक्राइब किए बाकी वॉलीबॉल के टीम से मैं मिला कृष्णा है ना वो कृष्णा पता है देखा हो भाई वो शुगर से पीछे पड़ जाते हैं किसी की इसको लेना पड़ा भाई लगा हुआ और तो आज मैं यार आना तो मेरी इसमें से लड़की से मिला तो कितनी बड़ी क्वालिटी की चीज है तब वो भी बिल्कुल इसको थ्रो नहीं लेना चाहिए थ्रो बॉल की ट्राई करनी पड़ेगी थ्रो बॉल नहीं शूट करने के लिए इसको तब वो कितना अच्छी बना के खींचना चाहिए 7 के और 6 भी खेल रहे हैं वो देखो इसमें कृष्णा मतलब कि मेरे सामने करेंगे पर सम्मान की टाइप को उठाने का यार निकालते हैं देख ऐसे अरे सच्ची में थोड़ा कैप्टन बैग में जेब में इसमें हमारी कुछ आज कौन सा पिक्चर है बायो वीकेंड आपको बात CPS अरे हाँ बोल दिया एक ना और मैक्स का नाम मैक्स का फॉर्मूला है लोग ये डबल ओवर नाम अरे डिस्टेंस फॉर्स में वो पहले चार उन्होंने हम लोग एक्शन कर देखेंगे पॉलीगॉन से तो वो नहीं लगा हम नाम का टाइम अरे तो देखिए बनाओ क्या तो समय से दो बार नाम रहते हैं और उसका नाम दो बार रहता है मेरे लोगों से नाम भी क्या करता क्या सोचो मंचूरियन की नहीं भाई इंटरनेट 500 पर खाओगे ना और सोच तू बोल रहा मंचूरियन नहीं उसमें मंचूरियन में तो वो नीम वाली दवा और डाल दी भाई मंचूरियन था एक कुछ तो मेरी तो अभी भी तो आई जा रहे हैं सारे के पूरा काफी मस्त ये तो लड़की से मैंने तेरे को कुछ मांग लिया काफी मस्त देखा भी मालूम लेकिन ब्लैक पेन देखिए अच्छा नहीं देखेगा देखो फोटो समझ के मुझे कराटे समझिए कराटे मार्शल आर्ट जानते हैं नहीं मैंने नहीं कहा मैंने कुछ नहीं किया कुछ क्या तो उस बंदे को करना है आई मैं जिससे पूछ रहा हूँ फ्राइडे को क्या कर रहा है बोल रहे थे तेरे बर्थडे के साथ अरे दो बार क्या ये करती है तो उसकी कुछ तालीम है और सबसे मेरा बर्थडे के दिन में ऑनलाइन क्लास मैं दूसरे दिन को दिया है बड़ा क्लास क्लास कर दिया उससे बात करने लगे बात करने लगा फिर हम लोग उसके बाद में बैठे मैं तो चला गया प्रॉब्लम नहीं कुछ इतना दूर बैठा उसके बीच में इतना ही डिस्टेंस था लेकिन फिर भी कुछ डर नहीं साला उतनी दूर बैठ के भी डर उतना दूर छोड़ी ना डर चल भाई बीच में इतना चौड़ा नहीं है उसके पीछे तू बैठा स्पंदन को स्पॉन बोला पहले वो क्या भाई इसके एमबीबीएस है यार एमबीबीएस हो रही है आज क्या वो ऐसी केस अबे अरे आज पिज्जा क्या करो ऐसी भाई ऐसी केस मतलब कि नहीं और सर मैथ्स करवाते हैं अभी मैथ्स क्लास के बायो क्लास मैथ्स क्लास के बाद ऐसी केस नहीं होती तो है हाँ मैं याद अगर नहीं माना आई मीन दिस तो नाम को एसपीएस उसके आगे चला गया उसके बाद में गया तो हम लोग देखा गया तो हम लोग चले गए अरे मैं पूछ रहा था दैट यू बोल सकती है मैं और भाई ये नाम से एक दिन भी मैं डाउनलोड से देखा बस जब तक मैं सबको पूरा 10 वाली उधर तक है ना, तो फिर उधर से हाईवे पे चल के अकेले रात को घर तक गए।
पता नहीं भाई आज दुपारी तोड़ पड़ गए। नहीं स्टोरी है। अरे दो मिनट पहले हुई बस ज्यादा बात नहीं क्यों देखना चाहिए मतलब वो क्या नहीं आएंगे
खेल लूंगा कुछ हर एक्शन का आउटपुट हर जो भी है क्लास में हो रहा था स्टार्टिंग में दिखना नहीं हो रहा था रिकॉर्डिंग के बाद कुछ इसी बॉल के शॉट मारा और प्रिंसिपल सैंडल जी का क्या पवन अरे देखा मेरा भाई मेरा भी एक उसको डर नहीं लगता है इसलिए अपन ये आज छुपा देंगे मेरे घर पे फोन करेंगे 1 लाख तो देखो छोड़ने के लिए देंगे उसके फिर 20,000 देगा
नहीं अच्छे चालीस वाले के पास एक साढ़े
अरे वो सैंडल भी थी कैसे की
पाँच बजे के बाद मीटिंग होता है तुम्हारे ब्लॉक में
हाँ मेरे में तो 5 बजे के बाद ही मीटिंग होता है गुड इवनिंग
अच्छा आपको 4 o'clock ही चाहिए आगे तुम्हारा
देख मैं अभी गुड इवनिंग बोल दिया ना
हाँ बिल्कुल तुम्हारा इवनिंग कितना बजे है 7 बजे के बाद
अच्छा इसको भी बता रही
है और
है अरे इसको भी केस के बारे में आज अनिल सबको एक ही केस के बारे में बता अनिल बहुत डर गए
अनिल हाँ एक्चुअली और डेड बॉडी नहीं क्या जिसके दो के लिए निकाले बॉडी
बहुत डर गए
एक ये न्यूज़ मुका से नहीं नाम मेरे टीचर ने कहा उसके बाजू में जानते नहीं थे ना जो उसको नहीं जानते थे इसके बाद But was it we had finished with skill, we had finished with that chapter skill, C is अभी करना है ना बेटा देखो पीछे और सब मैच में
अरे नहीं ना मीटिंग लाल पूरा करना था आपको खुद से पीछे पड़ गए थे
वो लोग से ब्रैकेट हो रहा है
लाल करना था
भाई को चेंज कर जाएगा अपना भाई
लाल से बोलते हैं भाई हम करा कर भी तो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड ने रोड में रोक दिया बार-बार कुछ
Where's your friend gone? Oh, exam. Your friend is having exam. साइन किया, सबने किया। You have lecture till 6:30. That's 6:30 to 7:30 lecture is cancelled because we are almost. Nothing. I don't know. I know only about my lecture. 6:30 to 7:30 that lecture is cancelled because we are almost done with the portion. वो एक घंटे का जो lecture increase हो रहा था for the last 2-3 weeks, that is only to cover up with the portion. Now that we are almost over with the portion, so that 1 hour lecture will not be there probably. तो होगा तो अच्छा है ना? हाँ. तो किसको नहीं रुकना है? वेदांत को नहीं रुकना है? क्यों? 5 बजे सोए मत क्या? सुबह 5 बजे सोए? क्यों? तो तुम सारा रात कर क्या रहे थे? पढ़ रहे थे? And where's your mother? मम्मी ने देखा नहीं तुम्हें? तुम जो टाइम पास कर रहे थे? So I'll have to report this to your mother now. I was sleeping. Huh? You're wasting your time. Chalo, we are done with that. I don't ask you what he was doing. I already asked her to give an embarrassment right now. Was just only. You're wasting your time, not studying, not sleeping, or that is you would have slept, you would have studied today nicely. We are completely done with those questions of from the chapter scale. We will start with seeds now. Seeds. What are some of the definitions? Textbook. What are some of the definitions? Can we read that book and have it? I don't know. क्यों? कुछ ऐसा लिखा है तो मैं देखूं तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी ना? कुछ ऐसा लिखे दे आपको कुछ शायद you are key to talk to also to लोगों का जो एज है ना इसकी एज you are really scared. How can you try it? आप अपनी सबसे चुपचाप है क्लास See the development in village. I am observing a lot. मैंने कुछ नहीं किया ये लोग बुक में करते हैं अब हमारे क्लास में हमारे बुक में ऐसी ड्राइंग बनाते हैं ये किताब तो देख लो छोड़ जाने दे भाई छोड़ दे start with this chapter but then how did you do what the test my partner was there अरे इसी क्लास में मेरा पार्टनर में एनसाइक्लोपीडिया है हां तो कौन है तुम्हारा पार्टनर मैं अपने पार्टनर के एनसाइक्लोपीडिया लेकिन काम फिर भी मैं छापता नहीं कर रही हूं मेरा पार्टनर एकदम मेरे पे छापता एकदम व्हाट्सएप में वो वर्स्ट केस हां वर्स्ट केस मैं उनसे और मैं बोलती है कि अगर वर्स्ट केस में छापना पड़ेगा अब कुछ ना कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा उठाने की प्रोसेस मैम जो है मैम से गलत है ये तो सबसे गलत है
लेकिन कम से कम वर्ड दिमाग में वो मैं छात्र तभी कभी होगी
You also have this, no? Marathi till the 7th, 8th standard, 7th.
Answer is correct and not like this.
Spelling must be wrong, that's fine. Spelling must be wrong, no, that's fine. Chalo, chalo now. If you have to hear your tales and stories, all my 1 hour, 2 hours will go. Now, let us continue with this chapter. Seeds, what are some of the important definitions? I think it started also this chapter. Few definitions we are already done. Now, we're going to start with what was the definition of, straight away I talk about what was the definition of the word seed we studied? Ripened ovule, no, ripened ovule we already talked about. And now we are talking about the definition of the word grain. Remember the definition of the word grain. What is the definition of the word grain? You may take in your textbook also. What is the definition of the word grain? The ripened ovules in which the seed coat and the fruit wall. The seed coat and the fruit wall are fused. Both sweethearts, can you now?
यही कर रहा है
तो इसीलिए तो मैं बोल रही हूँ आपसे पहले तो सबसे बहुत स्मार्ट हो रहा है हमारे साथ बैठ के सर्जरी वाला मोटिवेशन देख रहा है
मेरी शरीर
तुम जैसे इतने शरीर को वो तो डरावना है Now, to take the definition of the word grain, now we really talk about some classification of the seed. So, what are the types of the seed? We talk about types of the seed. What are the two types? Basic to understand, we are talking about albuminous. What is the meaning of albuminous? And the second type that we are going to talk about would be ex-albuminous. Just these terms, try to understand albuminous seeds. What are some of the characteristics? Ex-albuminous seeds. What are some of the characteristics? First of all, if it is an albuminous seed, I talk about examples like the maize. Albuminous seed, example is the maize. First, if you are aware about the examples, then you write down the characters also will always become easy. Maize, I am talking about albuminous. Ex-albuminous, I am talking about, say, suppose the pea. Then what are some of the specialized features to understand? Albuminous matlab kya? What is the meaning of albuminous? Albuminous means endosperm present. Albuminous means endosperm present. And here I have to write endosperm absent. Now, please try to remember what was endosperm? How is endosperm formed in a ovule? Started. कभी ऐसा हुआ कि 1 घंटा पूरा चला गया and nothing you brought? I think that should be one of the competition that should be conducted in schools. ये बहुत difficult होगा तुम लोगों के लिए. 1 घंटे में drop ना हो. The pen, the eraser, the pencil. Sometimes you yourself go back.
यार मैं तो गिरा था वही तो
स्कूल गिर गया था
Now, when we are talking about endosperm and
Excel or
no, endosperm is not formed by the egg cell. How is endosperm formed? Which process? You had written down some questions of I gave it out. Triple fusion. By the process of triple fusion. So triple fusion कौन-कौन से gamete से होता है? कौन-कौन से cells होता है? And two polar nuclei and one male gamete. Two polar nuclei and one male gamete fuses together to form endosperm. When we were talking about double fertilization, that time also I told you endosperm is always present in a seed which is dicote. Are very beautiful today?
Mama, Saturday.
He doesn't come on Saturday. So now that we are talking about if the endosperm is formed, the endosperm will always be present in a endosperm basically is present in dicot seed. Now that I talk about pea, gram, lentil, these are all dicot seeds. So these are all dicots that we are talking about. And then I talk about the maize. This is a monocot seed. No, monocot it is. In a monocot seed, endosperm is present. And if endosperm is present, another feature that always will be associated is the cotyledons. What about the cotyledons? Cotyledons are a part of the seed which stores food. So the cotyledons would be papery and thin. Cotyledons would be papery or thin. I talk about pea, gram, lentils, all these. Endosperm is absent. And if the endosperm is absent, then cotyledons would be fleshy. If endosperm is absent, then the cotyledons would be fleshy. In the pea, gram, cotyledons are fleshy, you know. 2 cotyledons are there. But I talk about the maize, the entire yellow part of the maize that we eat. If I talk about the maize seed, then the maize seed is roughly like this. The entire structure that we eat and the cotyledons are just somewhere they are present. Now the entire structure is the endosperm. This entire thing is the endosperm. But if I'm talking about the bean seed, if I now talk about the bean seed, both of these are cotyledons. Where is the endosperm? No, it's not there. Endosperm we don't draw. It's not there. So the bean and the pea, bean, these are types of seed that we're going to study also later. So first is this one that you have to understand. Albuminous, ex-albuminous. What are the other alternative terms? Albuminous is also known as endospermic, endosperm present. Endospermic. And what about ex-albuminous? Non-endospermic. Non. What is the term? Yeah, it's absent. Endosperm is absent. Now, the basic structure of the seed, let us now try to understand the basic structure of the bean seed. Okay, the basic structure of the bean seed. What are some of the basic terms? Look at the diagram itself that we have. Look at the diagram itself. We draw the diagram after something. The structure of the bean seed. What are the parts that you have to remember? Labeling of the diagram you are asked. Drawing generally not. So that's why when we are talking about parts of these diagram parts, basic structural parts, but still I'd ask you to draw a rough diagram because sometimes we ask you to draw the diagram for 2 marks. But let us look at the parts first. When we are talking about the structure of the bean seed, what are the parts underlined for testa? What do you see there? Testa. So we are now talking about the structure of the bean seed. Bean is what type of a seed I say? Dicot. Dicotyledons. It is a dicotyledonous seed. So first of all, if I talk about the bean seed, what are some of the structures? What are some of the features to understand? The first that we are talking about is the covering. What are the coverings? The testa and the tegmen. The testa and the tegmen. Can you see in the figure testa? Testa is the outer thick cover. Tegmen is the inner cover. Tegmen is the inner thinner cover, protective cover. These are. So first of all, we talk about the testa and the tegmen. Now next is we look into some other parts like the underline these 2 terms. The hilum and the micropyle. The hilum and the micropyle. Now when we are talking about one view of the seed, now if I talk about one particular view of the seed, something like this, in one particular view of the seed, you may come across. In one particular view of the seed, first of all, we talk about at one particular surface, scar-like structure, and then up there. Now, this, if you remember the function of the micropyle, what was the function of the for the passage of the male gamete into the ovule? So you are asked this. What is the significance of the micropyle? Do we get to see the micropyle into the ovule? Male gamete handle. The pollen tube comes and fuses actually. The pollen tube fuses with the ovule for the entry of the male gamete. Now, when we are talking about now in the seed, what is the function of the micropyle? Do we get to see the micropyle in a well-formed seed, in a dry seed? Yes. I talk about the chickpea. I talk about the gram. I talk about these different type of bean seeds. In each of the seeds, if you look into the front surface of the seed, where we generally get to see a structure like this, something white in color, and this is what is known as the hilum. This is what is known as the hilum. And this is the region which represents the connection of the ovary wall with the placenta. Then what about the micropyle? The upper small pore-like structure, this is known as the micropyle. Then what about the micropyle? In a mature seed, do we get to see the micropyle? Yes, always remember. Now what is its job? Now its job is the absorption of water. In a mature seed, its job is absorption of the water. So this is about one particular phase. Now we talk about the other particular, the other structure, the other structural aspect of the seed would be what? The other structural aspects of the seed would be, what is this phase known as? This phase is known as the convex side. And what about this phase? This phase would be known as the concave side. This is the concave side of the seed. What now? Apart from the concave and the convex phase, if we not try drawing the dicot seed, we not try drawing the dicot seeds, we're not trying to draw the dicot seed. These two are the cotyledons straight away. And then at this point where the cotyledons meet, we are going to talk about the structural, we are going to talk about the structure of the embryo. Now, how do we draw the embryo? The embryo will be drawn this way, where we look into that. It will generally have some leaf-like structure, and then structure something like this. Where now we talk about certain parts here. Now we talk about certain parts here. This diagram we will draw. The labeling of the parts. As I said, most of the time diagram drawing is not asked, but you may be asked to label all the parts. Now that I talk about that, this particular structure, which is the embryo, this particular structure is the embryo. Then what are some of the parts? Let us come across now. What are some of the parts? I look into part 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Okay, so I'm dividing the entire structure of the embryo into 4 parts like this. I'm dividing the entire structure of the embryo into 4 parts like this. And now let us look into each of these. Number 1, what is this? Plumule. This is the plumule. What is plumule? Plumule would refer to the portion of the embryo which would give rise to the shoot. The portion of the embryo which gives rise to the shoot. That is what is known as the plumule. I talk about this particular region. This particular region, I marked it as 2. The axis of the embryo or the embryonic axis, which is close to the cotyledon, and next to the plumule, near the plumule, or I will also say the embryonic axis above the cotyledon, embryonic axis between the plumule and the hypocortical. So there are various ways of defining. Simplest one of the definition that you can write, the portion or the axis of the embryo above the cotyledon or at the junction of the plumule and the hypocortical. So what is this region now known as? I'm talking about the part 2. Part 2 is known as epicortical. So what is this epicortical? This is a group of tissue. The cells here are going to elongate by the process of division, and they are going to take the plumule above the shoot and now form the stem, branches, leaf, flower, fruit, all. So this group of cells are very much potential to give rise to the entire upper part of the plant. I talk about 3. What is 3 now? 3 is known as hypocortical. Then what is the definition of hypocortical? Embryonic axis below the cotyledons or embryonic axis between the epicortical and the radicle. Embryonic axis between epicortical and radicle, or embryonic axis below the cotyledon. And the last part I talk about is the radicle, the embryonic tissue which gives rise to the root system. Embryonic tissue which will form the root system. Embryonic tissue which will form the root system. So this is what you are supposed to understand. I want you to draw this diagram, these 4 parts very clearly, and just a rough diagram to understand the labeling of the parts. So just 5 minutes I'll give you. Simple. Hypocortical will again, as I said, hypocortical will again elongate. The radicle grows only for a short time, goes into the soil. But the hypocortical has got a big accumulation of cells, assemblage of cells, which will again continue the process of growth to finish the entire formation of the root system. अगर hypocotyl नहीं है, the roots of the plant would have been very small, very short. But the hypocotyl has got so, or this particular region just above the radicle, with so many cells undergoing the process of cell division and entirely forming the root system. चलो complete करो फटाफट. Where is your pencil? You don't have anything known as pencil in your bag.
I did not bring the box.
I think तुम्हारा कुछ answer रहता है. I did not bring my bag.
I forgot. Arey, yesterday I got. Yesterday, arey no. Day before.
आज प्लीज का बर्थडे है.
Party.
हाँ?
This party.
आज आऊँगा. ये तो बोला मैंने यार. ये मैम को never love to spoil this party. That I know. मैम ये मैंने आपको बोला.
मेरा था ना
मैं पार्टी की स्पेशल कब हुआ? ये तो मेरी क्लास में नहीं है.
मैंने क्या
हाँ, please. आज पार्टी चलेगा. उसी को बीकानेर में मुझे देख के कैसे पूरा कॉन्टेंट डिजास्टर फ्रॉम द और बीकानेर में उसका शादी बैठा जा रहा. मैम वांटेड टू डिजास्टर फ्रॉम द और नहीं मैम. क्यों क्या कर रहे थे और क्या खा रहे थे वहाँ पे जो मैं देखी तो गलत हो जाता. कुछ नहीं मैम पी रहे थे तो पी रहे थे. पी तो रहे थे अब तो कुछ कर नहीं रहे थे.
काम करने का नहीं है आपने कहा
अरे संडे को
ये सब
माफ कर दो. तुमने तो किया था.
मैंने कहा पिया था मैंने आज तक टूटी के ऊपर कुछ नहीं पिया मैंने नहीं पिया था अपने वैसे नहीं पिया
मैम दो क्या थोड़ी ना
मेरे पास हो गए 20 रुपए की मैं उसका
पैसे भी नहीं थे. मैं सीधा टेस्ट किया बस ये लोग नहीं किया.
हमारे पास 20 रुपए ज्यादा थे नहीं
मैंने पैसे
इतने का ही चांस नहीं पता
पैसे नहीं दिया. और लोग बोलो आगे आके मैं 35 आया मैं आया भी नहीं पैसे वो तेरा स्पेसिफिकेशन देता है. नो आई फीलिंग सो सैड. शांति पर 35 का 50 मैं मान रहा 35 का 50 सीधा अभी. हाँ ऑलरेडी like somebody like Ignac speaker in EU and then he's saying that very much needs to be. I feel like crying now. So sad your conditions.
Drink water and stay.
and वही तो उसके अलावा नहीं तो बोलता है ड्रिंक बर्गर से बॉटल
अरे कुछ नहीं है
यार
ये ना मैंने बिल्कुल नहीं. He's getting prepared to go and stay at France. नहीं मैम मैंने नहीं बोला कुछ भी क्या बोला.
तुझे देखो बाबू और
मैम people of those countries they my mom अभी हम सीट्स पढ़ रहे हैं. चलो हो गया. Done. Now, okay, we are done with this part. Now, right. 4 questions on this. Let us complete. There's the functional concepts you have to remember. Basic functions on these. Then we move on to the full body. Right? Are you done with the parts? Did you label all the parts? I have written 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to label them. Label them. Label the parts. Whatever. Epicotyle. This is epicotyle. The embryonic axis.
What is
Embryonic axis मतलब the region of the embryo. This is entire. If I have to understand ये 4 region से क्या बन रहा है, this entire 4 parts forming the embryo. What is an embryo? It is a young plant. Young plant. This is going to give rise to the embryo. I'm saying, you want to say your way, you say, there is no problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है ma'am.
One of the patients go to So now this embryo, what are the parts? You are asking your question also. What are the parts that constitute the embryo? Now embryo of a plant will be having what different type of parts? The 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the parts that will be right up. Definition of this, epicotyle. What is epicotyle? The embryonic axis above the cotyledon or embryonic axis just between the plumule and the hypocotyle. Hypocotyle, embryonic axis below the cotyledon. That's the easiest way to always remember. Below the cotyledon is hypocotyle. What is it going to give rise to? What is it going to give rise to? Take fटाफट 5 questions ले लो, complete करो. This part is very simple. Number 1. Number 1. Mention the 2 seed coats. Mention the 2 seed coats of bean seeds. 2 seed coat of bean seeds. Or name the 2 seed coat of bean seeds. Number 2. Where is xylem located? Where is that's how we discuss. You write it down and keep so that you are able to answer all these questions.
Mention ma'am, what does it mean? Mention the seed code of bean seed.
वेदांत तुम जल्दी लिखने की कोशिश करो.
Yes. Mention the seed code.
Mention the 2 seed coat of a bean seed. Name the 2 seed coat of a bean seed. Number 2. Where is xylem located? Where is xylem located in a bean seed? Where is xylem located in a bean seed?
In the middle.
You have to write not in the middle.
On the
concave
surface.
Answer कैसे लिखना होगा? Concave surface. So that's what I mentioned. Which is the concave? Which is the convex? On the concave surface. Where is xylem located? Question mark. Second part of the same question before. What does it represent? What does it represent? What does it represent? It represents the attachment of the ovary wall with the placenta. Attachment of the ovary wall with the placenta. Attachment of the ovule with the placenta. Next. Mention 2 functions of micropyle. Third. Mention 2 functions of micropyle.
We can write the concept of that one, right? We always say,
Mention 2 functions of, no, that is the answer when you are asked what does the micropyle represent? Represent, if that is asked in your question paper, then you understand that as a plant characteristic I have to write what it is.
2 functions to here.
2 functions. Number 1 is
Then
absorption of water. The first function is absorption of water, and the next function is the exchange of gases, respiratory gases. That also is a function of the microbiome. Exchange of gases, respiratory gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide. So these are the 2 functions that you need. Next question. Name the parts of an embryo. Name the parts of an embryo. What are the parts of the embryo right now? Name the parts. Name the parts of the, for the bean seed only I am talking about. For the maize seed again it will be different. For the maize seed it will be different. I am talking about only for the bean now. Name the parts of the embryo. Then next is write the difference between hypocotyle and epicotyle. Write the difference between hypocotyle and epicotyle. Difference between hypocotyle and epicotyle. In this chapter, the basic structure and the 2 processes. That is know very well.
I mean, this if we mention the location of it.
What is it?
Where it is located.
Difference name. You have to write. And what it forms. You have to write.
तो मेरी वजह से इंटरनेट
हाँ?
मैंने पोर्शन मिला इसलिए पोर्शन कंप्लीट करने के लिए एक्स्ट्रा लेक्चर रखा।
हो गया ना उसमें
हमने कब बोला था रात से हमने बोला था
भूल जाता है सर, हम भूल जाता है जैसे नहीं है।
I have come to talkative now.
आपकी बातें करता है क्लास में दो ही लोग हाईलाइट है बात करने गर्ल्स में नहीं बॉयज में इसका पार्टनर और ये मॉनिटर है
कुछ नहीं
करके तो
अरे मैम कुछ भी बोलते हैं
मॉनिटर का बैच भी नहीं पहनते सर पीएम
मैम वो बैग को घटिया नाम सब पे नहीं ऐसे लटकते हैं
साहब को नाम का बैच चाहिए
मैम सुनीता घटिया
काउंसिल के हेड से जो टीचर है उनसे बैच ही करवाओगे
मैम दे दिया
गया था बात
चलो कंप्लीट दिस फास्ट 5 मिनट में कंप्लीट करो।
हम भूल जाते हैं
तो क्या
Vedant, will you please take the pain to write down this answer?
मैम देखो लिख रहा है
हम लास्ट में बैठे आंसर एक भी दे
इधर आके लिखना हम एक से मेरा आंसर लिखा है इसको लिख रहा हूँ
First of all, you love to sit near them.
नो मैम कभी
देखो तो मैंने लिखा है क्या देखो
मैम पहले आके कर बैठ गया
मैंने सुनना नहीं है तो तेरे पास में आके बैठ गलती जब
नहीं मैम इधर ही बैठ गया
आप लगे
मैम सीसीटीवी चेक कर रहा हूँ इधर ही आके बैठ गया
मैं क्या बोला कि तू बोला तू देख मेरे बारे में तेरे बारे में
चेक कर
If you keep your mouth shut and then write down the answers in 5 minutes and waiting. Hypocotyl and epicotyl, the difference that I asked you to write. Specific difference only about the location you are supposed to write and about what are they going to give rise, only that much. So hypocotyl and epicotyl, the first difference is just the definition. Right, you are leaving your friends and coming.
ऐसे कैसे है
तेरे शर्ट में कुछ दिखेगा ना तब सुन लो
इस चैप्टर में दिखता ही नहीं
अरे यार बैठना है
इसीलिए वो लाल पेन के आता है, कुछ लिखेगा भी तो भी दिखेगा नहीं। इधर आ जाओ,
मैम
इसको भी
ब्लैक
लिखो।
दिखता है उल्टा कितना लोग है मैम
He's scared because his mother is going to ask him only to wash his t-shirts. That's why
मेरे लिए
he must have already done it. इसलिए वो डर गया। हाँ, कुछ तो है नहीं, कुछ तो नहीं रहा। Epicotyl will give rise to the radical. I'm sorry, the root system. Root. Epicotyl. Epicotyl give rise to the root system. Hypocotyl to the root system. Differences when you write in your exam always should be written in a table. Abhi karke that becomes a habit. Done, फटाफट. फटाफट now complete this. Yes.
अब क्या
क्या बोल रही हो? ये क्या बोल रही हो? क्या?
Pencil, fatafat, I'll wait only 5 minutes for this. Stop talking. I think it also. Why you are singing every time? One age, no? Why? You love singing or? Everyone is singing. This will go like this. कौन है स्पंदन? I am going to hold on the lecture and then I'm going to say listen to your songs.
समझ बोल रही तो रेडी रहता गाना
कौन? स्पंदन. How many of you are good at things? Music, singing. You are doing school?
playing instruments.
Oh wow, good. You also, Shreya? तुम भी?
No, ma'am.
No, but I don't think during lectures.
Because you have not come up to this level of singing.
Exactly. उनका passion नहीं है.
वही है. हम लोग खुद का लिरिक्स बना रहे थे. वो सर भी हम लोग की लिरिक्स पर भी हम लोग भी होते हैं. हम लोग बैंड भी है. चार लोग.
Is it so?
ऐसा.
हमारी चार क्लास.
वो सार्थक तो अपनी स्कूल भी बना ली ना
तो चुप्पी रहो इतना आधा कैसे कैसे खाने का पता है
क्या कौन सी वाली 90s के गाने गाता हूँ कौन सा
उसमें एक्टर का ये बताऊंगा चैंटिंग के गाने में हम जो अच्छे तो भाई माइक बोलेगा
for the last 2 minutes finish up done now let us look into the structure of the maize seed. What are the parts that you are supposed to understand? This maize seed, when you talk about, see here, when I'm talking about these different parts, you take a note. In the previous diagram, did we come across anything known as endosperm? No, in the previous diagram, only we had come across the embryo. And that also, in the previous diagram, what were the parts of the embryo? We were talking about the plumule, epicotyle, hypocotyle, and radicle. These were the parts of the embryo. Now, in this case, we are talking about the maize seed, which is a monocot seed. In a monocot seed, what are some of the special parts that you are supposed to understand? The embryo has got some additional protective sheath. These are known as protective sheath. What is the protective sheaths? Here, we are talking about the coleoptile, which is the protective sheath of the plumule, and coleorhiza, which is the protective sheath of the radicle. Function of plumule and radicle remains exactly the same like we have studied in case of the bean seed. What else? When we are talking about the what type of seed is it? Albuminous or ex-albuminous now? You get to see the endosperm. So it will be albuminous or ex-albuminous? Albuminous. So now if it is an albuminous seed, did we ever understand that the cotyledon should be well formed? Check here. What did we write? We already wrote here that if it is an albuminous seed, the cotyledons are thin, not well formed. So this is what we are talking about. The cotyledons are comparatively thin, papery, and less prominent. It is not a very prominent part of the seed or the grain. But which is the prominent part? The prominent part is the endosperm. So we call it as endospermic albuminous. So now that we are talking about, this is the endospermic seed, where the endosperm is there, embryo is also there, but embryo has got some additional parts, and there is a single cotyledon, monocot. No, so single cotyledon. Yes.
Question it is that in which type of seed the endosperm is visible. So now we have albuminous or endosperm.
Albuminous or endosperm, both are correct.
can't be right, mate.
Maize is just an example. The category you have to read. Sheath means a softer protective structure. It is also a protective structure, comparatively softer. As I talk about tegmen or testa, these are comparatively harder, tough these are. So tegmen, testa, these are tougher. And now that I talk about the coleoptile and the coleoptile, these are comparatively softer tissues, but still protective they are. We now talk about the endosperm. What is the endosperm rich in? The endosperm is rich in starch. Remember, the endosperm is rich in starch. So endosperm is storing food in the form of starch. I talk about allurone. What is the allurone rich in? The allurone is a layer present basically in the monocot seeds. And what type of nutrient does it store? Proteins. Allurone stores protein. Allurone is a layer which is rich in protein. Endosperm is rich in starch. So these are some features about the maize seed you will write down. Now, if I ask you to write down two differences between the maize and the bean seed, what are the points that you're going to write? Not present. Second point, what are you going to write? Cotyledons are well developed in bean, fleshy. Cotyledons are papery. What's the third difference? Third, you have to tick that. Tick that. You have to read that. Coleoptile, coleorhiza absent. Coleoptile, coleorhiza is absent. So basically understand and write down the differences. So now that we had already compared both the diagrams, you are easily able to write 3-4 differences. It's not so. So you will always be asked like that. At least 2-mark question. Write down 2 differences between the maize and the bean seed. So that is about the structure of the seed, the first part of the chapter. Now we come to a concept of germination. What is the definition of the word germination? Now let us learn. What is the definition of the word germination? Now that I talk about this part of the seed, the embryo, there, these two sweethearts has to be separated now. Huh?
अभी हम आपने एक्सप्लेन किया वीट्स का बेस पीछे है
उसके बाद काफी चीज हो गया है.
हाँ उसके बाद हमने बताया कि ऑक्सीजन और
नहीं क्वेश्चन का
वही डिफरेंशिएट करो डेफिनेशन इट्स द प्रोसेस ऑफ बोले पता है लेकिन
By the time you reach 10th standard, your wings are going to become too broad and wide. अभी तुम्हारे wings छोटे हैं, देखो वो छोटे रहते काट दो उसको.
का बहुत बुरा है इसके वजह से हो रहा है
अब मैंने क्या बोला? Our 10th standard batch began 40. पहले हम सोचते थे 9th standard में बच्चे हैं, अब तो हमारे वैसे you all are their grandfathers.
yes parents are not
I know. By the time you cross the wall and go that side, I doubt.
very good
Now that we are talking about the basic differences. After this, germination, if I have to understand what is the meaning of germination? ये जो embryo है. If I understand the hypocotyl, epicotyl in the bee, or if I talk about the plumule and the radicle in the maize, both of these group of cells, they have the potential to give rise to a new plant. So then, what is the meaning of the word germination? What is the proper definition that you write? What is germination? The process of development of a seedling from a seed. What is germination? The process of development of a seedling. The process of development of a seedling into a process of development of a seed into a seedling, that is called germination. Right now, process of development of a seed into a seedling. What is the meaning of the word seedling? A very young plant. A very मैं तुम दोनों का now, seedling, read out the definition. What is germination? Germination, and what are the favorable factors necessary for the process of germination? Factors necessary for germination. Number one is temperature. Optimum temperature is very much necessary for the process of germination. Roughly around 35 degrees, 35, 34, 25 to 35 degrees. Roughly, when we talk about the process of germination. What else? Water. We talk about moisture or water necessary for the process of germination. What else? We talk about adequate amount of oxygen necessary for the process of germination. So now that we are talking about that, what is the process of germination for the formation of the young plant? Quite a lot of nutrients are required. Water, moisture is required. Temperature is required. Let us look into some experiments to understand this. The first experiment that we talk about, look at the first experiment there. We are talking about experiments which talk about temperature is necessary for the process of germination. Let us talk about the first experiment. What is the first experiment talking about? In the first experiment, we take some seeds. We take some seeds which are already soaked in the water. We take some seeds already soaked in the water. Now these seeds, what do? We keep it in the refrigerator for a couple of days, and after a couple of days we bring them out. And simultaneously we had also taken another plate or another glass petri dish where we had soaked some seeds and we had kept it outside the refrigerator, and another set of seeds inside the refrigerator, and we observe after 2 to 3 days. In 2 to 3 days, what are we observing? The set of seeds which are kept outside the refrigerator, they have started forming sprouts. Germination has started. But what about the ones that we have kept in the refrigerator? They did not. Now, what is the answer that you are supposed to write? Why?
Because the temperature required.
The temperature was so less, much less, because the refrigerator temperature is always something around 20 or even lesser. So now that particular temperature is not suitable. I'm always wondering this. ये ऐसा कैसा है कि सब कुछ तुम लोगों का गिर जाता है? My bag doesn't fall.
हाथ नहीं लगाते ना उसको.
तो तुम लोगों को मत लगाओ ना. What is it?
उच्चर पूछ सकती है.
Your hands should be on the notebook or on the textbook. कोई गिरेगा नहीं. Hold your pen tightly, firmly, जैसे मैं पकड़ती हूँ तो वो भी नहीं गिरेगा. So now we've been talking about what I said. Why you are asked questions when you are getting this diagram-based questions on the experiments. It will be a complete 5-mark question on some of the reasoning, some of the explanations. So now if I talk about why do seeds don't germinate if kept in the refrigerator, what is the explanation that you're going to write? The enzymes necessary for the process will always be active at a temperature, will always be functional at a temperature roughly around this. And if the temperature is much lesser, the enzymes are inactive. And since the enzymes are inactive, the process of germination would never take place. If the enzymes are inactive, the process of germination does not take place. So that is why we understand that if the seeds, even though they are soaked, kept in the refrigerator or put ice on it, in either of the cases, they will never germinate. Okay, now
next, I think last
today, next
Saturday.
So after next Saturday only your exam. No? So take time to go. This is your book. It's okay. This is there and one more lecture is there.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
तेरे क्या है भाई तू क्या बोल के आया घर पे कब आना
Chalo, I don't know.